In 11.5, starting on page 755, we are covering the area of circles and sectors. Now the formula for the area of a circle is A, and I'm going to start writing the different shapes down there. The area of the circle is pi r squared. So really the only piece of information that I need here is the length of my radius. Sometimes I'll have to find it by changing the diameter and dividing that by 2, and then sometimes they'll actually give me the area and they'll ask for things such as the radius or the diameter, so we have to find pieces of information in order to find other pieces of information. So here's an example. This is example 1 on page 755. We have a little I guess thermometer or a scale of something, and it says that the radius is 2.5 centimeters. So all I need to do is go ahead and plug into A equals pi r squared. I need to plug in my radius, 2.5, follow PEMDAS, which means I need to square that first. So that is 6.25 times pi. And you guys want to make sure to actually use the pi button instead of 3.14 rounded, because then your rounding in the end is going to be a little bit off of my answer. It'll be relatively close, but this will come out to 19.63. And do not forget your units, centimeters squared, as it is an area. Alright, example 2. We are given a CD here, and it says that the area is 113.1 centimeters squared, and we want to find the diameter. So into our formula, pi r squared, we plug in 113.1. So our first order of business is we need to go ahead and divide each side by pi in order to get that number away from r. So 113.1 divided by pi is equal to r squared. And then, in order to undo something squared, we need to take a square root. So if we take the square root, r equals the square root of 113.1 divided by pi. And if you type that correctly into your calculator, you should get about 6, and this was centimeters, 6 centimeters, which would then make my diameter 12 centimeters. And this last theorem of this section covers sectors. So a sector, by sect, you should be able to figure out that a sector of a circle is really just a section or a piece of the circle. Its technical definition says that it is bounded by two radii, which means that the point is going to be right there in the center. So if it's bounded by 2 radii, it could be a smaller sector or it could be a larger sector. So be careful on what area they're asking you to find. And in order to find the area of a sector, we have this proportion. So the area of the sector, that we want, divided by the area of the entire circle, which is pi r squared, should be equal to the measure of the intercepted arc, which, in case you guys do not remember, intercepted arc, it's the arc created by the central angle. So let me put some labels on here. So the intercepted arc right here would be that arc over, measure of the intercepted arc, over 360 degrees. So part over a whole, and then part over a whole. which this should look similar. We've used proportions like this before. So, following this is an example, and it is example 2 on page 756. In this example, it says that we want to find the area of the sectors formed by angle UTV. So let's find the area of the blue and then the area of the red. Alright, so let's first set up our proportions. So flipping back to my formula here, area of the sector over the entire circle. So area of the sector is what we are looking for. So I'm just going to put in area of sector. And then pi r squared, pi times 8 squared, should be equal to my central angle. Alright, or the measure of that intercepted arc. Keep in mind that the measure of your central angle is the same as your intercepted arc, over 360 degrees. So in order to find the area of the sector, I need to multiply each side by pi 8 squared, so by my denominator, to get that on the other side. Pi 8 squared, I don't know why I wrote that backwards. So A equals 70 over 360 times pi 8 squared. Alright, so I do know before I type things in to make it simpler on myself, those zeros will cancel out, and this is 64. So this is 7 times 64 pi over 36. And that should come out to about 39.10. Alright, and since it's an area, it's going to be units squared. Now let's set up the red. Alright, area of the red, area of the sector. So this is still going to be over 64 pi. And it's not 270. I need to take that away from 360. Alright, so that's going to give me 290 over 360. And we can go ahead and let these zeros cancel out as well. So A equals 29 times 64 pi over 36, which should come out to 161.97 units squared. Alright, this is about all the information that you guys are going to need in order to conquer your homework. I will say that problem 26 is a little bit of a thinker, as you have to figure out the area of the shaded region, and they do give you, it's nice that they give you a center point and they tell you that these are perpendicular. So the shaded region, I highly suggest maybe not finding the area of the shaded region, but find the area of the whole circle and then taking away the triangles that you find. Sometimes that's easiest. It's easiest to find what you don't have instead of finding what you need. So your homework is on page 758, and it is 3 through 9, 11 through 16, and 20 to 26. I will see you guys on Monday.